this is Neil Bradshaw with UberPi, and I'm going to show you how to configure an Xbox 360 wireless controller with RetroPie. What you'll need is to set up your keyboard first, which I go through on another video that's on my YouTube channel. Once you've got your keyboard set up, you're going to want to press enter. Now, before you do anything else, you need to make sure that you have all the right equipment. You need to have your Xbox 360 wireless controller with batteries in it, and you need what's called an Xbox 360 PC wireless USB receiver. And it basically is a USB wire with a USB connection that runs out to a little puck-shaped device. It's got a green light on it, and it's got a button on it. And you'll want to, before you go into configure input, you want to make sure that that puck's plugged in to your Raspberry Pi. Then you want to turn on your controller, and you want to push the little button on the top of the controller and the button on the wireless receiver to connect them, and it should light up as the controller being controller number 1. If you've got that, if you have the green light on the puck on, and you've got the player 1 button lit on your controller, you're good to go. So you just got to sync them up like you normally would if you had this puck on a PC. So with the player 1 light on and the light on the puck on, I'm going to go down to configure input with my keyboard. It's going to ask if I want to configure input, and I'm going to say yes. Now, it's detected one gamepad. What it's actually detected is that Xbox 360 wireless controller. It's detected that through the PC wireless USB receiver. So you can push a button on your controller, and Xbox 360 wireless receiver, that message will pop up. And you can do this for another controller. You can actually hook up, you can sync up another controller, and it'll become controller 2. It'll light up as number 2. It'll still say that Xbox 360 wireless receiver, but it works just fine. It will be controller 2. The first one you set up will be controller 1, just like it indicates on the pad. So for D-pad up, I actually use the analog joystick that's on the far left, because it's real awkward to use that directional pad all the time when you're playing games. So with that analog joystick, I go up and then down, left, right. I use the start key. The start button is the start button, and the select button is the select button. And then you can do A, B, X, and Y. Now for the A button, I actually hit the B button. And for the B button, I actually hit the A button. For the X button, I hit the Y button. And for the Y button, I actually hit the X button. And that's because it's like the Super Nintendo configuration. It seems to work best for most games. But you can actually stick to making A, B, B, X, X, and Y, Y if you really desire that. For your left shoulder, you want to hit the small left shoulder button on the top of your controller. The right shoulder, you want to hit the small right button on the top of your controller. Left trigger, the left big trigger button. The right trigger, the right big trigger button. For the left thumb, that's actually, I push down on the analog joystick on the far left of the controller. And for the right thumb, I push down on the analog joystick on the right side. Now for the left analog up, that's where I use the little directional pad with that's kind of it's below the analog. It's below the analog joystick. It's the one that's got 4 directions on it, and I make that my left analog up and down and left and right. And then for the right analog up, down, left, and right, I do use the right analog joystick, and I go up, down, left, and right. Now for hotkey enable, I just push like the A and the B button at the same time and skip it, because we've configured every button we've got on this controller. And then after that, I hit OK. I go ahead and hit OK. It's going to pop up this message about using the select button as default for the hotkey. You want to go ahead and do that and hit yes, because that way you can hit select and start and exit games. And you can hit select and other buttons to do configurations within the games, which is more complicated than this video is. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit my A button and select that as a default, and you're done. After that, you have a fully functional Xbox 360 wireless controller. And you, like I said, you can go ahead and get another controller, sync it up. It'll be controller 2. You go back into that configure input and then set all your buttons up again on the second controller, and then it will work. So with that, you have Xbox 360 wireless controllers working in RetroPie. And that's all I really have. Hopefully you can find the right puck. I would, like I may have said before, I strongly recommend that you buy one that was actually made by Microsoft. Some of the generic ones may not work. So I would buy the one. I have one that's white and gray colored. It's white on top and gray on the bottom. It actually says Microsoft on the top of it. And as long as it's made by Microsoft, it should work. If you get the generic ones off of eBay, I can't promise you that those are going to work. But that's it. And this is my personal favorite controller to use in RetroPie. So I thought it was important to make a video so that people could know how to set these up. Thanks a lot.